Army, America, Allah. So right now, Army of Pakistan is under so much of pressure to keep themselves relevant.
Our forefathers, they have sacrificed immensely, and we have sacrificed a lot for the creation of this country, and we know how to defend it.
And it is the act of the Army of Pakistan. Judiciary has also shown a bit of urgency in conducting elections in the valley. What do you think? What is the ground on which Pakistan claims Kashmir? The politics of Jinnah was on this line that the Hindus and Muslims can't live together. The interest of the Hindus and Muslims are totally different.
Freedom must mean freedom both from the British exploitation and Hindu domination. Millions of Muslims will never agree merely to a change of masters.
Second World War has ushered the Cold War. Now Kashmir issue got entangled in the Cold War politics. Okay, so let's explore this geopolitical angle which has further complicated this issue of Kashmir. Huge vested interest of the West which was lying in the region. US-India alignment is increasing and Pakistan has lost relevance in US scheme of things, but now it is China's interest lies in Pakistan. We are maintaining trade deficit. Pakistan maintain positive balance of trade with us. Now suspension of trade with Pakistan will further deepen the economic crisis in Pakistan. Along the western borders, they are tackling TIT, Tehreek-e-Taliban, and their tensions with Afghan Taliban has increased. Pashtuns on both sides do not accept the legality of Durand Line. Already we know this, that their tensions with BLA has increased, and parallelly if Indian army will escalate tensions with them, it will put tremendous pressure on the army of Pakistan. So we are going to do that. There's a difference the way a UPSC aspirant needs to understand the issue. I always say this, and a UPSC aspirant needs to understand the issue from a much wider perspective. It is just a mere coincidence that last year at the same time I was in Kashmir and I visited the PSIR Valley in Pahalgam. And हाँ ठीक है, जब मर्जी लगा दियो. So ठीक है, मैं बोलना शुरू कर रहा हूँ. So it's just a mere coincidence that last year near about the same time I visited Kashmir and I went to PSIR Valley in Pahalgam. So I remember talking to one of my friends and saying this, that I can see a visible change in the security scenario of the Kashmir because it was my third visit in Kashmir. So, but this attack in Pahalgam has suddenly changed the whole dynamics of the politics of Kashmir and suddenly has escalated so much of tensions between the two nuclear armed states. Now, the peace process which was ruled by the government of India since 2014 after the abrogation of Article 370, this attack has given a big jolt to the peace process. And I think somewhere the judiciary has also shown a bit of urgency in conducting elections in the valley, because center's objective was to have a strong control till the time center feels that the situation has normalized completely. Now, so much has been said and so much has been already discussed in the media about this act of terrorism. And we can clearly see a lot of anger in the whole country, the way it has been conducted and the way religion has been brought in this violent act of terrorism. So in this video, rather than going into the nitty-gritties of this violent act of terrorism, let's analyze the issue from a much wider perspective, which I think has not been discussed yet. So I'm going to throw a light on this particular issue from a much wider perspective. To understand this issue, to understand why there is violence and why there is terrorism and we are not being able to defeat terrorism, is we need to go back to the history of the India and the history which led to the partition. Now, for a common person, there's a difference the way a UPSC aspirant needs to understand the issues. I always say this, and a UPSC aspirant needs to understand the issue from a much wider perspective. We need to understand this issue from the perspective of Pakistan. We need to understand this from the perspective of India. We need to understand this issue from the perspective of Kashmiris. And there is a geopolitical angle. And there is a geopolitical angle which is also involved in this particular issue. And when I am saying geopolitical angle means the vested interest of the outside players, the vested interest of other powers in the region. So I hope most of the people are well aware of this, that Indian partition took place, which led to the emergence of two dominions, that is India and Pakistan. And as per the Indian Independence Act, the rulers of the princely state were given the option either to join India or Pakistan, or they were free to remain independent. Now, most of the princely states agreed except three, that is Kashmir, Junagadh and Hyderabad. So the rulers of these three states were not able to decide, and they were aspiring for their own independence. So I always ask this question to the students, and I personally believe that despite so much is written and despite so much is discussed, people do not have clarity of the issue of Kashmir. Because when I ask this question, what do you think? What is the ground on which Pakistan claims Kashmir? Now, many say that it is religion, it is the Muslim majority population. Now, as per the Indian Independence Act, nowhere it was written that the religion of the people of the state will be the criteria to decide. The will of the ruler was the final criteria. And the ruler of Kashmir signed the Instrument of Accession with India. So, when the ruler of Kashmir has signed the Instrument of Accession with India, end of discussion and the end of issue. Because everywhere it was the will of the ruler which prevailed. Now, at that time also there were different opinions between the Indian leaders. The stand of the Sardar Patel was, let Kashmir join Pakistan, considering the Muslim majority population. Right? But before anything could have been decided, Jinnah signed the Instrument of Accession with the Nawab of, or the ruler of, Junagadh. Now the politics of the Muslim League, the politics of Jinnah was on this line that the Hindus and Muslims can't live together. The interest of the Hindus and Muslims are totally different. The line which has been recently taken by the chief of the army staff of Pakistan, that we are two different people.
ताकि वो पाकिस्तान की कहानी ना भूलें. Well, our forefathers, they thought that we are different from the Hindus in every possible aspect of life. Our religion is different. Our customs are different. Our traditions are different. Our thoughts are different. Our ambitions are different. That was the foundation of the two-nation theory that was laid there. That we are two nations. We are not one nation. So because of that, our forefathers, they struggled, mounted that incessant struggle to create this country. Our forefathers, they have sacrificed immensely, and we have sacrificed a lot for the creation of this country, and we know how to defend it.
But it was Jinnah who signed the Instrument of Accession with the Nawab of Junagadh, where majority population was of Hindus. Now the question mark, there's a big question mark, we can't ask this to Jinnah. How come the interest of Hindus will be protected in a Muslim state which was created on the name of religion? India declared itself as a secular state. This was the time when Sardar Patel, he has given this statement, it's a quoted statement, when Jinnah can have an Instrument of Accession with the Nawab of Junagadh of a Hindu majority state, why can't Patel have an Instrument of Accession with a Hindu ruler where majority population was of Muslims? And India is a secular state. When millions of Muslims can live in India as minorities, why can't we have a Muslim majority state? So, in this backdrop, India signed the Instrument of Accession with the ruler of Kashmir. Now, if we draw the parallels, there was a mutiny against the Nawab of Junagadh. He fled to Pakistan. India conducted plebiscite in Junagadh. So India took over Junagadh through plebiscite, that is by knowing the will of the people. Now, Nehru being idealist, Nehru being a true democrat, he promised plebiscite to the people of Kashmir, that we will take Kashmir as per the will of the people. So he is being criticized on this ground, especially by the right wing. What was the need to promise plebiscite to the people of Kashmir? Okay. So now the question marks come. Does Pakistan have any right to claim Kashmir? There is simple no. Pakistan do not hold any right to claim Kashmir. Who is Pakistan to claim Kashmir? Can Kashmiris hold grievance against the state of India? The answer is yes, because many feel that the promise which was given to them has not been kept. Okay. So first thing you need to keep this thing in mind, that this aspect that yes, Kashmiris can have grievance against India because plebiscite was not kept. Now India has its own justification. We'll explore that also, we'll discuss that also, and it is important to know what is the justification of India. But I hope now at least you can understand that grievances which Kashmiris hold, that the promise was not kept, and that's why Nehru is being criticized. There was no need to give this promise because nowhere the will of the people was taken into consideration. There were so many princely states where the will of the people was different from the will of the ruler, but everywhere the will of the ruler prevailed. We can draw parallels with Baluchistan. There are Baluchis who believe, and there are Baluchi leaders who believe that the instrument of accession on the ruler of Kalat was imposed on them, and that is why they do not accept the legitimacy of that. But India never used to raise the issue of Baluchistan, realizing that Pakistan will understand our sensitivities on this particular issue. Okay. So, as I said, there were many princely states where the will of the people was different, but everywhere the will of the ruler prevailed. So, what's so special in the issue of Kashmir? Here also the will of the ruler prevailed. So, India's stand is very clear. Kashmir is an integral part of ours, and it's a matter of our sovereignty. So, legally, constitutionally, Kashmir belongs to us. We have a document with us to show Kashmir belongs to us. Pakistan acquired POK. So that POK region is the illegal occupation. Pakistan has acquired or took it over through force. So Pakistan needs to vacate that. Okay. So India's stand is Pakistan does not have any legal ground and any legitimacy to claim Kashmir. Yes, it is between whom? The people of India and the people of Kashmir. So I hope this much of discussion would have given you the clarity about the stand of Pakistan, the stand of India. Now, the another reason for which Nehru is being criticized is for taking the issue to UN. By taking the issue to UN, unnecessarily we internationalize this issue of Kashmir. Okay, so this is the second reason for which Nehru is being criticized, and he's been tagged as idealist. Nehru didn't realize the realism of the world politics, that Second World War has ushered the Cold War. Now, Kashmir issue got entangled in the Cold War politics. Okay, so let's explore this geopolitical angle which has further complicated this issue of Kashmir. Now, you need to understand where is the location of Kashmir. Kashmir shares contiguity with Soviet, and Central Asian states were the part of Soviet Union, and Kashmir shares the border with that. Both India and Pakistan became parliamentary democracies after independence. How come democracy has flourished in India while Pakistan becomes a rogue state, or democracy remains fragile and army as an institution acquire more power? I think students should think about this. Whenever I ask this question, I have seen no one having the proper understanding. Why Pakistan became a military dictatorship? How come army acquired more power and democracy remained fragile? The answer lies in CENTO. Pakistan joined a US-led military alliance. And the day Pakistan joined a military alliance, military acquired more power. So you need to understand, during Cold War, the interest of the Western capitalists were aligning with the military generals of Pakistan. So technically at that time, US was having a lot of interest here because West at that time was pursuing the policy of containment, that is containment of communism. And under this containment of communism strategy, Pakistan became a very important state for them. If we explore it a bit more, when 1979 Soviet entered into Afghanistan, they used whom to counter Soviet? They used the army of Pakistan to counter Soviet by creating Islamic fundamentalists. So there was a huge vested interest of the West which was lying in the region. Now, Indian Independence Act was passed by British Parliament, and Nehru took the issue to UN with this hope that West will support us because our stand is more right. Nehru felt that much of the valley we have secured and let's pressurize Pakistan from UN and the West to vacate POK. Now, again, as I said, Western interests were lying in the region and the UN recommended plebiscite, which came as a shock for us. Okay. So, the UN recommendation on plebiscite came with a condition that Pakistan should vacate POK. Pakistan never vacated POK, and this is India's justification of not conducting plebiscite. Not conducting plebiscite, but continuously we have conducted elections. We have conducted timely elections. So when Kashmiris hold this grievance that promise of plebiscite has not been kept, India's stand is we were ready for plebiscite, Pakistan never vacated POK. Second, we have given a lot of autonomy to the people of Kashmir under Article 370. Maximum autonomy and maximum democracy has been enjoyed by the people of Kashmir in India. If we compare the conditions of the Kashmiris on two sides of the border, that is LOC, where there is more development, where there is more growth, where people are living a better way of life, what Pakistan has given to them? Pakistan has just given them the terrorist camps. So, we have given them democracy, we have given them development and growth. And now, it is up to the Kashmiris to realize this. It is up to the Kashmiris and the onus is on them to understand this, what India is committed for. And the kind of Islam which is there in Kashmir, it is a liberal variant of Islam. And what kind of Islam what Pakistan wants to impose on them is a fundamentalist Islam. Do they want to align with Pakistan? Do they want to align with a state who has suppressed the rights of their own people? Do they want to be with a state who suppress the will of its own people? Their political leaders are in jail. Okay. It is the army which controls the state, right? And the same goes for Pakistan. Pakistan as a state is based on three states: army, America, Allah. So Pakistan survived because of the support from America. You can see the suppression of the rights of the people in Pakistan. There is a suppression of Baluchis, there is suppression of Pashtuns, there is suppression of Shias. They have suppressed and killed Bengalis. Are they worried about the rights of the Kashmir? No, they are not. And this is what Kashmiris needs to understand and realize that where their interest lies. Now Kashmiris also need to realize this, that India conducted elections in Kashmir after signing the Instrument of Accession. And their elected assembly, their elected leader, Sheikh Abdullah, signed the Instrument of Accession with the government of India and we gave them more autonomy under Article 370. And 370 was not given for eternity. Indian government realized that 370 is fueling secessionist tendencies. It is hindering the growth and the development of the region. And this became the reason why government decided it's time to abrogate 370. Again, while abrogating 370, there were much wider geopolitical dynamics involved. You need to understand that the 96 Taliban came to power in Afghanistan. So Afghan politics has always impacted the Kashmir dynamics. And the saying goes, peace in Afghanistan lies towards the political solution of Kashmir. So these issues are linked to each other. Last time when Taliban came to power in 96, violence, chaos, instability increased in India. Indian Airline 1999 was hijacked and they took it to Kandahar. So when US announced the withdrawal, India realized that we need a better control of the region. Center realized we need a better control because we were not sure whether we'll be able to engage with Taliban. We were well aware Pakistan is going to push terrorism against India because the region will come under the grip of Islamic fundamentalists. So US withdrawals became the reason for the abrogation of 370. This aspect is not analyzed that well, but there's a clear geopolitical angle towards the abrogation of 370. I hope now you can understand. Now, when earlier it was US interest and now US has left, Pakistan has lost importance from US scheme of things and US is nowhere in Afghanistan. So US interest has diminished in Pakistan and US interests are now more aligning with India being a market, and US right now wants to balance China. So US-India alignment is increasing and Pakistan has lost relevance in US scheme of things. But now it is China's interest lies in Pakistan. It is China who is building CPAC which passes through POK. So This is the reason why China supports plebiscite, and supporting plebiscite is a clear violation of our integrity sovereignty. So this is the wider perspective which prevails in the region, that is the interest of the other players. Earlier it was US and the West under their policy of containment because they wanted to use Pakistan to contain communism, and now it is the interest of China in the region. Okay, and China is finding another alternate route to enter into Arabian Sea through Gwadar port. So this is why China wants Pakistan to have strong grip over Baluchistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and POK. So I hope you can understand it is not only about Pakistan, India, it is also about the vested interest of other players. And then comes Kashmiris. So as I said, can Kashmiris have grievance? Yes, they can have grievance, but they need to understand that towards which side their interests are better served, towards which side there is vibrant democracy, which side is committed for their growth and development, which side has given them more rights, and which side can give them the liberty to go ahead with their own liberal version of Islam. See, Kashmiri culture is vibrant. There is art, music, and as per the radical version of Islam, worshipping graves is against Islam. Okay, so they do not consider, they are ready to shoot anyone who worship graves. They are against Sufism. Okay, so Sufis are seen as infidels, so they are ready to use violence. So which side their interest lies? Are they want to be with a state who is openly suppressing the rights of their own people? And I guess majority of the Kashmiris do not want to. It is just the fringe element, and Pakistan wants to use them to create chaos, instability in the region, because vibrancy, development and democracy will impact the interest of the Pakistan. And when I am saying Pakistan, you can easily understand which institution of Pakistan? Army. So right now, army of Pakistan is under so much of pressure to keep themselves relevant, and it is the act of the army of Pakistan. Okay, so I hope you can understand this issue in a better way. Now comes the last aspect of our discussion, is what options India is having now, how India can act and retaliate. There is always a bogey, it's kind of bogey which has been used by the army of Pakistan, will not shy away from using nuclear weapon if India will go for a full-fledged war. Now, since Uri attack, a government started understanding this, that always Pakistan's vested interest lies there, and they will always try to disturb the peace process in the valley. And after Uri attack, it was the Prime Minister Modi who said that blood and water can't flow together. And clearly we can see we have decided to suspend the Indus Water Treaty. So this decision is not taken abruptly. We were planning for this. Okay, already a lot of investment has been done by the government in building canals and dams in the region, and this is the step which has been taken in this direction, that we need to increase the economic cost for Pakistan to support terrorism in the region. So one edge we can have, being a upper riparian state, is to obstruct the flow of waters, and one step we have already taken, that is the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty. Okay. Second, to suspend trade. Pakistan maintain, we are maintaining trade deficit. Pakistan maintain positive balance of trade with us. Now, suspension of trade with Pakistan will further deepen the economic crisis in Pakistan. Third step which I see is that India is going to escalate the tensions along the LOC. It was Pakistan's General Bajwa who requested for the ceasefire. We agreed for that. Why? Because Pakistani military right now is not in a position to manage tensions along both of its border. Along the western borders, they are tackling TIT, Tehreek-e-Taliban, and their tensions with Afghan Taliban has increased. Pashtuns on both sides do not accept the legality of Durand Line. Already we know this, that their tensions with BLA has increased, and parallelly if Indian army will escalate tensions with them, it will put tremendous pressure on the army of Pakistan. So we are going to do that. Fourth step, what I can see is that probably again a Palakot kind of strike we are going to, I'm not sure whether it will happen or not, but this is what my understanding is. Probably we will go for a Balakot type of strike on the terrorist camps. So this can be a much bigger strike than the last time, and we'll see whether the army will escalate it further or not. And the last thing is, India can go for a Balakot-like strike against the terrorist camps in POK and within Pakistan, and probably this time the strike will going to be a much stronger military action from our side. And this will going to put tremendous pressure on Pakistani army, whether they are going to retaliate against us, whether they can afford for a full-fledged war or not. So probably after this military action on the terrorist camps in POK and in Pakistan, probably will left the onus on Pakistani army. Are they willing to go for a full-fledged war against us or not? So right now, these are the options which I can assume that the government of India will going to take. Parallelly, we need to strengthen the security in the region. Parallelly, we need to maintain the communal harmony, and it shows the maturity of the Indian society that no issue of violence and communal violence has been reported from any part of the country. So parallelly, we need to maintain communal harmony. Parallelly, we need to strengthen the security apparatus in Kashmir. Parallelly, we need to keep working towards bringing growth and development in the valley. And these actions and efforts needs to go in sync. So this is what my understanding is. And already we have decided to suspend the trade. Multiple times Pakistan was dependent on US for bailout packages. Now US, as I said, has much of the interest in Pakistan. So Pakistan will not get a support from US. So this will going to deepen the economic crisis. IWT has been suspended. Soon we can see escalation of tensions along LOC, and parallelly India will go for an all-out military action against the terrorist camps in Pakistan or not. This we have to see. Hopefully this discussion would have given you a wider understanding and understanding of this attack from a multiple perspective and from a much wider perspective. Okay, we'll keep coming with such videos in future. Best wishes. Take care.